Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Speak Your Truth with Mark Ross podcast. My name is Mark Ross, and with me this evening is Scott Grace. Scott Grace is a transformative coach. He is an author, he is a speaker, and he is what he would like to call himself, which I will go into detail, the spiritual Dr. Seuss. Scott, please welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mark Ross. So nice to be here.
Mr. Classic. That's right. So before we go into your work, Scott, why do you call yourself the spiritual Dr. Seuss?
Somebody named me that and it caught on YouTube. I had nothing to do with it, but I do like to rhyme, and sometimes I rhyme. When my daughter was 2 years old and I finished reading her a Dr. Seuss book, I started to rhyme in my head as if I was Dr. Seuss. But the rhymes were not just playful, but they were kind of full of wisdom, more wisdom than I had in my young life. So I started writing on the computer, and it's been, I don't know, it's been 15, 16 years, and all of my best wisdom comes through the pretense of being the adult Dr. Seuss. So I go with it.
Yeah, all right. All right, cool. I appreciate that. What was life like growing up for you, Scott?
I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. And I felt like I had to be tough. And I became a jock, and I had this persona. But then music called, and I started to learn guitar and sing, and the having to be tough thing went away, and I started to be the artist that I was meant to be. Back in the day, 4 cassettes, 9 CDs of original music, and then the book started coming and the poems, and I've just always been inundated with creativity. So I would say that my old neighborhood, that I survived it, but that I don't identify as a New Yorker.
All right. You host the Beyond Red and Blue talks, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Explain what that is, Scott.
I'm constantly responding to what's going on in the world with my heart, with a sense of grief, and maybe a very naive version of, why can't we all get along? Is there a possibility that we could put our political differences aside and connect as human beings? And so that's what my life is about these days. Okay. That's, musically, poetically, and this book that I'm almost done with, thank God, called Beyond Red and Blue, Staying Human in Divided Times. That's kind of where I'm at with my creativity, with my message, and with my hopes to actually make a
Ain't nothing wrong with that, Scott. Nothing wrong with that at all. So do you have people to come on your show, or is it just you talking?
So I don't have a show.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, I don't have a podcast or a show. I just go on other people's podcasts, and I plan on going to colleges. I used to be like a professional speaker since 1993, and I know what it's like to be in front of audiences. And I really look forward to the resurgence of that expression, because I have a lot to say. And I can say it in humor, rhyme, and Q&A. And it's all about what can we do if we go beyond red and blue? What
Mm,
what if what if we all joined and recognized that there's some people who want us to argue, who want us to be opposed, who feed, whether it be financially or even emotionally, who feed on our division?
I like that. And I'm going to ask that question in a little bit.
Yeah,
Uh, but before your talks, uh, in your bio, it says that you like to recite a poem. So,
I love it.
could you recite said poem, sir?
Yeah, this is the forward from my new book, which is not out yet. So you get to hear a little bit. It says, "Will you write the forward?" Scott asked me last month. I said, "Yes, indeed." He had paid for my lunch. I read the whole book and it sparked up my pen, and rhymes were ignited again and again. So this is the part of me called the spiritual Dr. Seuss. But this is no fable for kids getting tucked in. It's a wake up adults book for the nightmares we're stuck in. A book without answers, but full of good questions, ones to chew slowly for mindful digestion. Like, why do most folks see just red or blue? Could there be more than one valid view? Are opinions synonymous with what is true? Is this what our founders hoped we would do? Now, old honest Abe, he was my man. A house this divided cannot long stand.
Mm,
He was Republican, President Lincoln, and I'd like to see more of the ways he was thinking. Why have opinions become so darn rigid? Why is this Cold War becoming more frigid? What could be making extremes so attractive? What could be making our brains so reactive? Hmm. Well, I've cooked up a theory that still can use cooking that points to the glasses through which we've been looking. A dark pair of lenses that filter out light till all we can see is just black or just white. No room for discussion. You're wrong and I'm right. Blood pressure rises, adrenaline spikes till I'm left with three options: fight, freeze, or flight. And when on the menu, there's only three F's, it brings out my worst traits and hides all the rest. No listening to you. It's time to go tribal, to stick with my own and steer clear of my rivals. My rivals are totally up to no good. They simply cannot be the least understood. I'm turning the page just in case I forget, because
go,
I
go
think I
ahead.
have it memorized at this point, but
Uh,
it's just a backup.
It's all
So,
right.
it's safe to assume they were up to no good. I learned this from news shows who always agree with my view of the world and the way it should be. Whether it's Fox or MSNBC, it all sure sounds fair and balanced to me. Now, these glasses make sure I obscure self reflection. So I claim the high ground in moral direction. Now, it's easy to spot these glasses on Putin, but in my own mirror, now that I'm disputing, I've got to stay blind to my mind's battlefront so I can cast blame on those liberals. or Trump. Now, could it be most of us are now wearing these glasses, letting the media blow smoke up our asses, using the internet for amplifying the reasons the other side needs demonizing? Our differences seemingly so polarizing. We can spend half the day back and forth analyzing. And through algorithms, we see only our tribe and think the whole world is applauding our side. The trespassing's always those other dumb asses, and never the fault of our own faulty glasses. May this book help us take off our glasses and see what we all have in common: our humanity.
Mm. That was great. I really appreciate that because you mentioned some phrases that really made me think. What can we do beyond the red and blue? You know, and are things fair and balanced?
No,
No,
no way. They've
no,
never been.
no. That's the honest.
Where? This is an imperfect experiment.
Mm,
Humanity, yeah, I don't think it's in nature's order for us to be fighting against our own species. So, you know, I think we're flawed and learning, hopefully. I am.
yeah, I, I, I would like to think that most of us are thinking and learning, but I think the fuel in which we take, or some people take, to engage in that behavior is wrong. It's misguided.
Mhm. I would say it's guided by fear. That excuse me for the black and white, but that some people are entrenched in fear, and their points of view come from fear. And some people are learning to switch the locus of their attention from fear to love. And one of the first steps in that change is social justice, realizing, hey, not everyone has a chance. It's like the game is stacked against the little people, or the people born in poverty. It's very rare when someone who doesn't have the funds to get education can really make it. So there's this injustice that many of us are waking up to, and not everyone, because there are some people whose their worldview is about us versus them. Like, I'm going to get my needs met. I'm going to get my family's needs met. But screw the rest of these people. This is capitalism. This is democracy. This is me. It's a me thing.
Mm, mm. Yeah, I hear you on that. Scott, what's the common thread when we peel back the layers of human behavior?
Wow. Did you rehearse that question, or did it just come to you naturally? I love that question. Say it again.
What's the common thread when we peel back the layers of human behavior?
A sense that we're separate. Um, that is the common thread. It's it's as old as the Adam and Eve story of eating from the wrong tree, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Do you remember Rumi's poem where he says, "Out beyond all ideas of right and wrongdoing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." So, out beyond all ideas of being separate, there is a common humanity, and that some small children understand that adults don't, and that is you can't really get your needs met at other people's expense, because once you start thinking every man for himself, Darwin, you lose
Hmm.
the potential for happiness, because happiness is not, just getting your needs met and pleasure upon pleasure and accumulating wealth. Happiness is being interdependent and making a difference in other people's lives.
Hmm.
I think I strayed from your original question, but hey, isn't that what art is about? Podcasts.
Sometimes you stray away from the beaten path, as they say.
I love that. So you said something like what's the bottom line of
Basically, the
you?
common thread. Yeah.
The common thread of human behavior is either acting from fear or acting from love.
Mm.
Am I a communist by saying that uh, we can only really be truly happy by communing with each other, by feeling your connection with other people and acting together? I don't know. I don't really care what people call me. I just know from my own personal experience that we're all in this together.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, whether you want to believe it or not, it's us. It's us.
And it's not us versus them. We're
Right.
all us.
It's us.
Yeah.
Big picture us.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for that answer. Uh, what led you down the path of becoming a public? What led you down the path of getting involved in public speaking, Scott?
Ah, it's a funny story. Thanks for asking. I used to be a guest singer at churches and synagogues and different events. I I would open and close for many, luminaries with big names, including three presidential candidates, uh, and just big name authors. And I became very self-expressed as a singer, but sometimes I would sing and then sit down, listen to the talker, and I just felt like I could do that. Actually, I would be more dynamic than they are. I know how to do this. What's wrong? Why I can't? So I started to realize that my jealousy was really my inspiration. That it was telling me that I belonged on that stage. And
Hmm.
so eventually, in 1993, a minister at a Unity church hired me to sing at his event, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, my wife and I won't be there this time around." And I heard myself say, "Do you have a guest speaker lined up?" And he said, "No, not yet." And I said, "Well, I do that." And I was praying that he wouldn't say, "Where have you done it?" He didn't. He said, "Oh my goodness, that's great. We have a speaker and a singer all lined up." And
Hmm.
that was the beginning.
So you're a man of many hats, basically.
Sombreros, senor.
Sombreros, sombreros. Uh, I I know. I mentioned that you were a transformative coach, but for the record, can you explain what that is?
Sure. Um, I help, I mentor, I guide, I support, I listen, I tune in to what's what's best for this person? Do they need to vent? How can I help them? And I do it without a license. I've been trained in many modalities, but I don't have a therapy license. So I have to call it coaching.
Yes, indeed, indeed. Uh, and I mean, how successful have you been in that?
Let's see. 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. I don't know. I don't care. I don't count. I mean, I just don't even look at my bank account. I just wake up and say, how can I
That's a
help
good feeling to
people?
have, knowing that you don't have to worry about looking at your bank account, Scott.
No, I do worry.
That's a
Just to
great freaking
clarify,
feeling.
I don't look at my bank account, but I do freak out occasionally about money.
Okay.
So I'm human. I'm
I'm
a
trying to be like
I'm
you.
a I'm a worry wart.
Oh, okay.
I
I'm
do
trying to be
worry.
like you
I
when I
just don't
grow
look.
old, man. I'm trying to get to where you are. I want to make
Oh,
6, 7, 8 figures, man. Let's go.
no, 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 no. I don't think. I think the most I've ever made in a year is $60,000. So I'm not wealthy,
That's all right.
except in spirit.
Spirit, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And I'll take that.
And I moved to Mexico about 3 years ago because it cut my expenses in half. And that helped reduce enough stress that I could write more books and focus more on helping people than saving my ass from the creditors or whatever.
Hmm. Hmm. Indeed. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. That's a smooth move there, brothers. That's a smooth move. You mentioned something to me during our initial interview that we had a while ago, Scott, and you mentioned the phrase mindful meditation.
Yeah.
Talk, what does that mean?
Well, I think you're talking more about my last book, which is called
Ah,
Mindful Masculinity,
masculinity. I was going to get into that,
a
but go
book for
for it.
men and the women who love them. Yeah. Yeah,
Talk more about that.
that was my latest thing. I went over on 50 podcasts, and uh, it was my best gift. I was like so happy with it. Now I'm on another track, and this book is kind of old news to me. Although I always love to talk about it. And what it is basically is a masculinity memoir where I reveal all of my insecurities, lessons learned about being a man in this culture.
Mm.
I feel, like I'm kind of like a pioneer in that I am aware that I have a feminine side and that I'm a man who needs not just balance, but to lean towards the masculine in order to get stuff done, in order to make a difference in the world. So, yeah. Any specific questions there, Mark Ross?
Well, I was going to ask, well, actually, I don't know if it was a question, but more of a comment. Uh, because when I hear that phrase, mindful masculinity, it it puts in my mind the awareness, being aware of who you are as a man.
It's
Okay,
another word for mindful awareness.
just being aware of who you are, being aware that uh, being masculine doesn't involve titles. Because people put titles and this and that to it, and it's like, hey, just embrace who you are.
Yeah.
Just start there. Just let's
Yeah.
start there. Embracing who I am as a man, flaws and all. I'm
Yeah.
not perfect. Who is? But let's give ourselves some grace and embrace who we are. You know, I think that as men, we need to learn to embrace who we are. You know,
Yeah.
we run
Well,
from the flaws. We hide the
there's been an abuse of masculine power that's created a lot of violence, abuse, and just imbalances. So it seemed like in the 60s and 70s, men were apologizing for being men. And then came Robert Bly and the drumming and the masculine movements. And I did these workshops and I'm, embracing masculinity, but at the same time, aware that there's more to a man than just masculinity. It's it's like there's a whole other side. There's a left brain and a right brain, and the left brain, intellectual, gets stuff done, and the right brain, intuitive, more feminine. It actually is the receiver of great ideas, the
mm,
receiver of compassion and empathy, and the two sides of the brain are meant to be in harmony, to go together. And as Forrest Gump would say, I have nothing left to say about that.
all right, all right. Scott, you've authored a few books, including Mindful Masculinity.
Mhm.
Can you talk about the books that you authored?
I can talk about them.
Please
This
do.
one, this one is called How to Evolve During the Trump Experience, Whether Humanity Joins You or Not. And on the back, it says, Donald Trump is not a problem to be solved. He's an in your face wake up call, a calling to evolve. As this book assists you to do your inner work, Trump may still be acting like an insensitive jerk, but
Mm,
he won't continue to jerk your chain because you'll have discovered how to remain in your peaceful, playful, and powerful center where love and joy and immigrants can enter. I wrote that during his first presidency, and it's really written for people who oppose Trump. And what I've been working on for a year now is a revision of that book called Beyond Red and Blue, Staying Human in Divided Times, which is hopefully beyond polarity, beyond Trump's bad and this, da, 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 da. My opinions, my politics are out of this new book. Now, in 1990, in 1995, I came out with my first book called Teach Me How to Love. And it's a memoir, which I have no right to write a memoir at age whatever I was, 40, but it really is. And it's a way of inspiring people by telling stories about my life of how I dealt with fear and overcame it to say yes to my dreams because I've lived my dreams uh, for decades and it didn't come easy and people need to hear each other's stories. And then oh, the place, no, wait, where is it?
well,
I got it. This is my spiritual Dr. Seuss book.
ah,
Oh, the places your ego will go. Starting when my daughter was 2 years old and I tucked her in, and the poems started to come to me. And after a dozen years or so, I had enough for a book. And by the way, Mark, before we're done tonight, you uh, challenge me, give me a topic or some summarizing of what we've been talking about, and I will, let's say, channel the spiritual Dr. Seuss and create a poem that's never been heard before, even by me.
So you're gonna basically you're gonna make it up on the fly.
Yeah, what's the word? Improv.
Yeah,
There's
yeah, right.
lots of
Improv,
words
ad
nowadays.
lib.
Ad lib. Give me a rap beat and I'll do it in rap.
I don't know. Oh, I don't know about that, Scott. I love your energy,
Just
bro. I love you.
I just want you to know what's on the menu. You don't have
Uh,
to choose.
All right, all right. I love your energy, by the way. Uh,
I'm glad.
I also read in your bio that you did stand-up comedy
I
and you
did.
opened for comedians like Dana Carvey and Robin Williams. What
Yeah,
was that
imagine
like?
that.
What was yeah, man, right. I would like to share that. Talk about that. What was that like opening up for those guys?
It was brilliant and so
Wow.
bold and so beautiful, to meet these people in the flesh, shake their hands,
Yeah.
and I was starstruck, but at the same time, I had been developing my own material, and this was a chance to have an audience. So it was brilliant. It was beautiful. Some of it was improv, and
Mm,
some I had developed over time.
wow. Um, yeah, I bet that was amazing. I bet that was an amazing experience to do that. Um, and as a speaker,
Yeah.
you've also had the pleasure of speaking and sharing the stage with great minds like Deepak Chopra. I think you shared the stage with him. You shared the stage with Michael Beckwith, who
Oh
was a part
yeah.
of that documentary about the law of attraction. What was it?
Oh yeah.
The
I
Secret.
think you're
The
talking about
Secret.
The Secret.
The
Yeah.
Secret. Yes.
I've been with almost everybody who was on The Secret.
Mm,
And these were the days when I was the background, I was the support, I was the singer who would open up, but I didn't really share the stage with them. I just was on stage, did some songs or some whatever, and then got off the stage so they would be on stage.
wow.
And as I said, I've done this for three presidential candidates. Unfortunately, no one who actually made it, but Dennis Kucinich, Jesse Jackson, and Marianne Williamson all hired me because they knew that I made up songs in the moment and could energize the crowd.
Mm, wow. What were some lessons that you've learned from being around those guys?
That everyone's human, that angels are assholes and assholes are angels, and it's impossible really to divide the world up into the good and the bad. And like, I just saw the shadow side of people that I admired, and big egos.
Mm,
And I guess I learned that we're all human. Some people have bigger microphones, but that we're all doing our best and we all have blind spots.
mm. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Uh, so with everything that you've done and accomplished in your life, Scott, what's next for you in your journey?
What's next for me in my journey is to hire a new or attorney, because I'm going to need a lawyer to help me navigate the places I want to go.
Mm,
And the places I want to go is college campuses, just like Charlie Kirk. But instead of the divisive messages, I want to give this unity thing to the younger generation, because I fear, I have a daughter, and I fear for the next generation.
Mm, yeah, yeah. It's real sketchy, with our political landscape and the way things are moving. It's real sketchy, and I'm just prayerful that things uh go in the way of good.
Mark, I love the way you said that. Prayerful.
Yeah, I am. I am.
Yeah.
I have to be thoughtful in that manner, but realistic too. That the pendulum can shift either way, but I'm prayerful that things work for the good.
Mark, I can't agree with you more. And I think that the world is a mystical, magical place where people can tune into the station of their choice. So the world is getting better, the world is getting worse. There is this split. And just like Dickens said in A Tale of Two Cities, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. You get to tune into which station because there is no we, there is no like we're all experiencing the same reality.
Mm,
I d-
yeah,
yeah, I think things are getting worse,
yeah.
um, and things are getting better. And you have to choose what station you tune into, or do your best to be aware of both and choose which one you tune into so you can contribute to either the amount of fear in the world or the amount of love that's just growing.
Mm, yeah, yeah. So um, before we sign off, you want me to give you a word you can do a poem out of? A word. Okay.
Or a sentence.
Or a sentence. Um,
Yeah. Tune into what you think your listeners um, value the most about tuning into Mark Ross. What do you think they're listening they want?
I would say unity, but uh, in terms of knowing me as a person, uh, I think peace would come to mind.
Peace. And the podcast is called Speak Your Truth.
Correct.
So you're behind self-expression.
Correct.
That's big. And but peace is the the hope that self-expression will lead to. Like if we can all listen to diverse points of view
Yes.
and respect and be okay with individuality, then
Correct.
there's a hope for peace. Okay. So I've just described, as a matter of course, the purpose behind this podcast, Mark Ross. Mark my words, and I'll tell you what I think. I think that there's joy, but our shit still does stink.
Woo.
I think that there's possibilities unheard of, my friends.
Mm.
There's a whole lot of love and it has no end. But if you're in the dark and you just think you're out for yourself, then you can imagine your own personal wealth without any idea that it is a we. It's not just you versus me. It's us together. And we've got umbrellas like the one in the background. Whatever the weather, you and I are equipped for the climate we're facing.
Mm.
And speaking your truth is a way of embracing that you have a voice and you have a part in the awakening of the human heart, because it hasn't been awake for a very long time. And it's not like there's evil and we have to fight crime. It's more like we're waking up to the good that we are. And bottom line is, we're all shining stars. It's not just some luminaries out there doing it all. Every one of us is awakening to the call. You have a part to play, just like me and Mark. And together, and only together, we can awaken the human heart.
Scott, that was smooth. That was real smooth. And what I loved about it is that you just thought in your head and just came out. That was amazing. Scott, how can people contact you?
Well, I was just going to say, kids, don't try this at home. Um, you can contact me, and I do songs and poems to celebrate weddings, anniversaries, even eulogies, birthdays. No need to have an excuse to have your own song or your own poem or a poem for a loved one. And all of that is on my website, scottsongs.com. www.scott, SCOTT, songs.com. And as I get more into the political world and this book comes out, there's going to be a lot more going on in my life. And I'd love for you to be a part of it if you feel a resonant, if you just enjoy my upliftment.
I do.
Then, yeah, just stay connected to me by
Sure.
subscribing at scottsongs.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Scott, this has been a pleasure and a privilege to speak with you and just get in your head a little bit to learn more about you and the work that you do. I hope and pray that things continue to go well for you, and yeah, let's stay connected. Let's stay in touch, and yeah, who knows what will happen down the road, right?
Right, Mark, you are right. Surprises await us.
Indeed, indeed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the Speak Your Truth with Mark Ross podcast. Scott, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking the time out to listen. And as always, guys, it's okay to not be okay. Just do something about it. Scott, salute to you,
Adios,
my friend.
senor.
All right. Enjoy yourself, man. You deserve it.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.